Ghana Commercial Agriculture Project yields results.
Finance Minister said Tekpe dispels speculation about Ghana's debts.
Good evening, you're live on GBC24 and GTV. It's time for news hour. My name is Suyokwo Kwakutre.
And I am Micheline Taka. To help us with the sign language is Robert Frimpongman, so you're welcome.
Since its launch in July 2012, the Ghana Commercial Agriculture Project GCAP has been supporting nucleus and outgrower farmers in the Accra Plains and the Zada zone.
The project helps farmers to access land and provides access roads to farms and irrigation facilities for dry season farming. GBC24 explains how young men and women in Accra Plains and Savannah ecological zones are beginning to take up agriculture as a profession.
Research indicates that unemployment among young people, particularly graduates, has reached a record high. Stating a position on the state of unemployment in Ghana, the World Bank reveals that about 48% of the youth in the country do not have jobs. In an effort to respond to this high unemployment rate among the youth, particularly among females, the Ghana Commercial Agriculture Project, GCAP, under the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, is assisting farmers with technical support. The intervention is to help farmers to increase productivity and also assist the farmers to have access to markets for their produce. As a result of making agriculture attractive through the use of technology, some young people in Togome in the Volta region, for example, have moved from subsistence farming to commercial farming. Richard Nunukweku used to be the sales manager for Samsung, responsible for Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Cameroon, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. He has since resigned in order to go into full-time agriculture.
I was a marketing manager for Samsung West Africa, responsible for 5 countries: Ghana, Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. And then I stopped.
So do you still work or you stopped?
I've stopped completely. I've been out of work for the last 2 years, so I've stopped completely.
Have you regretted?
No regret so far. No regret.
Richard is just one of the many young educated people who have begun to see agriculture as a business and not as a profession for illiterates. Women outgrowers are now able to pay school fees and buy new clothes for themselves and their children. They are now more financially independent. They no longer depend on men, especially spouses, for basic personal needs. A few men have built new houses, while some women got capital from the outgrower scheme for trading. The national coordinator of GCAP, Charles Nonu, says one of the aims of GCAP is to transform agriculture and make it attractive to the youth.
We want to help people who are already proven farmers who have knowledge, expertise, and can offer same to other farmers. So you must have that. Then you must also be doing crops that GCAP supports: rice, maize, and then soya and horticulture crops. And then the third one is that you must also be ready to also support whatever you wanted to help you yourself, because most of our support is through matching grants, and the grants have a maximum cap of 80% of the cost of whatever you wanted to support you.
You have something that is trade. Yes. So let's know about it.
The Minister for Agric, Alhaji Mohammed Muniru Limuna, has been to many of the farms that have received support from GCAP and is urging more farmers to take advantage of the scheme to improve on production.
The farm service centers will buy them from you. Your headache is not to get market. Your headache is to how to cultivate the tomatoes. When you finish, they'll buy it from you. We are in collaboration with Ministry of Trade and Industry to ensure that we have processing plants that can process, store our tomatoes and use them, so that is not your headache.
The increase in production has also led to food security, as many households now have enough to eat till the next farming season and some extra to sell and buy other foodstuffs that they do not produce. This means higher income and improved living wages. Abdulhai Momin, GBC24.
This year's National Science, Technology and Innovation Fair has begun at the University of Ghana, Legon. The fair is a showcase of indigenous inventions by some selected tertiary and research institutions.
Science, technology and innovation are key to society's advancement. The advanced and fast developing countries such as Japan, South Korea and China are just a few examples of nations that have built their economies on scientific innovations and inventions. It is believed, and evidently so, that Ghana can achieve the much-needed development if she invests a lot of resources into science and technology programs. For this reason, the government introduced the Science, Technology and Innovation Fair last year to encourage and nurture young scientists to explore and invent. The fair is organized by the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation with support from some research institutions. This year, 5 institutions benefited from a $500,000 grant meant to encourage them to bring into being new things that will make life better. The project was funded by the World Bank. In the next few days, the inventors, researchers and students will interact and share ideas on the importance of the private sector and the science, technology and innovation for national development. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Ebenezer Odrowusu, said it is time for Ghana to develop homegrown technology for development.
It's my hope that this fair would create the relevant platform for participants to pursue their interest in science, technology and innovation, to showcase new technologies and build stronger collaborative networks to impact national and international development, which would ultimately better the lives of our people.
The Minister for Education, Professor Nana Jenu Pokwajiman, said science and mathematics are part and parcel of human life, and it's time the teachers divide ways to make the study of those subjects easy and interesting for students. The Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Mr. Mahama Yariga, said the youth must be encouraged and empowered to develop their talent in science and technology.
The rapid technological advancements have been changing the way we live, learn, work, play, and socialize.
Some of the exhibitors spoke about their innovations.
It is made up of 46% of potato, and we did this because of vitamin A deficiency in Ghana. Almost every Ghanaian likes taking bread in the morning. So you get the average Ghanaian taking bread, but the bread contains vitamin A.
Water could be of this quality, but we want to be able to treat it to a level where, after running it through our first treatment system, which is natural aggregates set up, we can have this quality.
The Energy Commission, in partnership with the Ghana National Fire Service and the National Insurance Commission, will from January next year undertake an audit of the state of wiring systems of all hotels and commercial public buildings across the country. The owners of any of such facilities with wiring systems aged 10 years or more will be directed to overhaul the wiring. Failure to comply with the directive means the facility will be closed down as being unsafe for occupancy. A lead officer of the Certified Wiring Program of the Energy Commission, Mr. Solomon Sapon, made this known in Kumasi as the certification of about 300 electricians.
The 300 electricians were presented with certificates included those who successfully undertook the certification training of the Commission. They were taken through practical training in areas such as earthing, testing, cable sizing, protection and selection. They were from the Ashanti and Bonahafu regions. The Commission has so far certified 920 electricians this year out of the 1,200 who applied for the training. In all, about 400,000 electricians have been certified across the country since 2013 when the program began. Addressing the electricians, the lead officer of the Certified Wiring Program of the Energy Commission, Mr. Solomon Sapon, disclosed that very soon the Commission plans to provide additional practical training in solar energy installation for the certified electricians. He said the Energy Commission has constituted disciplinary and monitoring teams who have started going around the country to ensure that electricians comply with the legal regulations of electrical wiring. Anyone who falls foul, he warned, would be dealt with in accordance with the law, which involves prosecution. In an interview with GBC24, the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the Ghana Certified Electrical Wiring Practitioners Association, Mr. Ben Tetesoa, expressed satisfaction with the certification program, stressing that it would bring sanity into the electrical wiring subsector.
Old wires in the houses, whereby it gets in contact, and when they get in contact, that actually gives the fire outbreaks. And with the introduction of this, we have been able to just outline the old cables, some of the old cables. At the same time, with the new installations, we have to do some testing.
The First Lady, Mrs. Lodina Mahama, and her Ivorian counterpart, Madame Dominique Ouattara, have signed a joint declaration to affirm their commitment to the fight against human trafficking and worst forms of child labor in all economic sectors. Ghana passed the Human Trafficking Act in 2005, and Cote d'Ivoire is currently drafting a national counter-trafficking legislation.
Cross-border child trafficking and worst forms of child labor is a criminal act and a violation of the rights of children. According to the United Nations, about 2.4 million people are trafficked at every point, a practice which generates $32 billion annual profits for traffickers. The government of Ghana has, however, taken steps to address child trafficking through the ratification of international treaties and conventions and capacity building of law enforcement officials and the judiciary. To help fight the activities of traffickers in Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana, a joint declaration has been signed by Ghana's First Lady, Mrs. Lodina Mahama. Mrs. Mahama said the ECOWAS Free Movement Instruments, coupled with unapproved border crossing along Cote d'Ivoire, is facilitating the operation of human traffickers. She said the time has come for the United Nations, African Union, ECOWAS, and other international organizations to ensure that perpetrators of human trafficking and child labor abuse are held account for their actions.
I will recommend the establishing of a secure combined cross-border anti-trafficking database between Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire and a comprehensive response action plan to confront the issue of human trafficking and the worst forms of child labor, which I consider a blot on our reputation and needs to be tackled head-on.
For a part, the First Lady of Cote d'Ivoire, Madame Dominique Ouattara, was hopeful that the collaboration will help the two neighboring countries to protect its citizens from trafficking activities. She said, even though Cote d'Ivoire has put in place measures to protect its people, the menace still persists. Cote d'Ivoire's Minister for Employment and Social Protection, Dossou Moussa, said Ghana is the third country after Mali and Burkina Faso that Cote d'Ivoire is joining forces with to fight human trafficking and worst forms of child labor. Ghana's Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Nana Oyelitha, said Ghana has strengthened its legal and policy framework to fight against these acts. She commended the technical committee which drafted the declaration and said it will go a long way to intensify efforts by both countries to combat human trafficking. A technical committee made up of experts from Ghana's Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations and Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection and that of their Ivorian counterparts are expected to come out with a blueprint on implementing a plan of action by the end of the year. Mavis Ofer Champon, reporting for GBC24.
You're welcome back. President John Mahama has assured residents of the rural Greater Accra that government under his watch will always deliver to make life bearable for them. Some of the places he visited, such as Botiano, Obom, Weja, Akweteman and Anya, are either in the interior of the region or suburbs of the fringes of the capital. Napoleon Atukito has filed this report.
Day one of Greater Accra Regional Campaign Tour by President John Mahama started from Kweku Pamfo in the Obom Domiabra constituency. The president, who is the presidential candidate of the ruling National Democratic Congress, has been reaching out to people in all nooks and crannies of the country, soliciting support in his bid to be re-elected. Some of the towns near Kweku Pamfo where the president held a rally are Obom, Domiabra and Ashalaja. The president noted that he is leading a government machine that will bring development to the people. Thus, he said, if it has not got to you, just wait for your turn. He appealed to the electorate to retain his government in power to ensure that the process in place is not interrupted.
Community say ko one harm light. She pi any sani wobla light one harm. He wo no bafe. Dani woba she 20 dani mercy 2021. E sha keke mbabi e ko je electricity sani nyabaye bibi ko President like a parliament ni choni. E wo no ni fair electricity polyclinic ni woba fe yo boom senior high school kegbejebe fe ke ofo shike oha present mokobanye ke o president lens months isani she parliamentary candidate fo shike hale ke ofe na kai president o chileke wo lami.
The campaign gained more momentum by the time the NDC train got to Botiano in the Botiano English Yamanfro constituency. The NDC is gearing up for electoral battle in Weja constituency, which the party failed to win. In introducing the NDC parliamentary candidate for the Weja constituency, like he did for all other constituencies where he has been, President John Mahama urged voters who will vote for him to also vote for NDC parliamentary candidates. He said it is only by having a parliamentary majority that a president could have the weight to carry through his or her objectives.
NDC, what is NDC? NDC.
It was in the night by the time the president got to Anya in Okakwe North constituency. It is a place which has seen development under his watch, as a dusty road has been turned into a dual carriage and tarred. The road serves as a bypass for commuters connecting from Accra West to the Accra-Kumasi Highway. The road came along with auxiliary projects such as markets and schools.
African Development Bank, omoma isika di yewe. Mediato omenim, omo be my sika ni aye interchange ewo Pokwase Junction ho.
Akweteman broke into deafening cheers when the president got there. The president had said in his earlier remarks there that as a young man he began life in the neighborhood of Akweteman before moving to live at Medina in the early days of marriage. He urged the crowd to turn out in their numbers to vote for him to lead the nation to greater prosperity in the next 4 years.
No Ababase, no Ababase. And nona ekra forecast say what ya was say what ya were here. No retreat, no surrender, forward ever, backwards never.
The Greater Accra region is one of the densely populated, and by way of registered voters, the capital region comes next to the Ashanti region. Napoleon Atukitu reporting.
And now the flag bearer of the Progressive People's Party, Dr. Papakwesi Indum, has wrapped up his first Central Region campaign tour with a call on Ghanaians to vote massively for the PPP for a resounding victory in the 2016 elections, speaking to fisher folks at Apam. In the Gomwa West constituency, Dr. Indum said a PPP government would ensure proper protection of the sea for a good catch by fisher folks. If elected, the PPP would also establish factories to add value to raw fish instead of importing them.
The entire Apam township was on its feet for the flag bearer of the Progressive People's Party as he walked through some streets responding to cheers from the townspeople. He headed to the Apam beach where the fisher folks were there in their numbers to receive him. It was a joyous moment for the fisher folks when the PPP flag bearer got there. Born and brought up at Edina or Elimina, also a fishing community, the PPP flag bearer said one important segment of society which should not be left out in development planning of a country is fisher folks. He spent close to 2 hours touring the Apam beach to ascertain the problems of the fisher folks. He spent time with older fishermen, youth groups, and women for discussions. He lamented the living standards of fisher folks. He said as fishermen, they should be classified as higher or middle income earners, but that cannot be said of them. He said the problem can be attributed to the fact that government has failed to address their plight. He introduced the PPP parliamentary candidate for Gomwa West, Mr. Charles Kofi Yosen, to the fishermen for their votes.
America, you there? So, one can say, way in Adam, yet I am in Adam, Yamid or Homo Biara. I want away in Adam. Let's say, Yaba, Abenima, yes, in your day. Yabo, a Punoban, one hour say a Punasino, where Jay, Yama, and Namaka Sabum, Ama. A Sawusika at the qua, and Jessica, Neda, son, Nedaba, and on the area Mawaba, on the area Mawaba. Then Evoco, America, a mame, Obio Pufini, I Pufini, America mame. Otanana denim fine, or canana car, and all the Kayajuma, the pick up out the corner of the bar, or Otumia number, Otumia Biara fine. Dam na yanso yepede yanso yenapofo onso abrabo dam na odo otumpo no kada.
According to the Apam fisher folks, they have been left to their fate to fight for their lives by the government. According to them, it is about time they received their fair share of the national cake. Dr. Papakwesi Indum took meandering routes and visited houses of fisher folks. To him, the PPP can better solve the nation's problems. He also took time off his schedule and visited their Apam market. He assured them of solutions to their problems when PPP is voted to power. He was hopeful his Central Regional Tour will better his chances in the December polls.
You go to a place like Asin Breku, a place like Heman, the people are hardworking. They are working. They are not just sitting around just looking to beg. They are working, but unfortunately, they are not getting any help from anybody. That is the problem that I see. You go to the fishermen, they are out there, they are working, they are not sleeping. The farmers, they are working. There can be cooperatives that are given assistance by government so they can farm on a large scale. But the most important thing, that we find them a market and empower people, business people, entrepreneurs to start processing factories so that they will have a market, so that we can even go and sell our excess products to other people in other countries. There are problems, yet we see opportunities. And that is why the Progressive People's Party must come with our ideas to make sure that those hard-working people, they get reward for their labor.
Away from politics, Ghana and Russia have made a mutual pledge to expand the range of items in the economic engagement under the New Deal. Nuclear power, mining, transportation, and agro-business will be given special attention. Already, Moscow is assisting Ghana in areas of education and leadership training. The new business opportunities appear to be a well-thought-out arrangement to be declared at the meeting taking place in Accra over the Ghana-Russia Permanent Joint Commission.
Russia, a global economic giant, recently revived its ties with Africa with increased investment. The positive effect on Ghana was the signing of a nuclear power agreement last year. Experts have lauded the move, calling it a major booster for the energy sector and the economy in general. The second Ghana-Russia Joint Permanent Commission is to cement the agreements and policies enunciated under the first commission. A source in the Russian delegation indicates that their side will be seeking to increase their investment in Ghana because the Ghanaian economy is favorable to business.
It's not only to fix various mutual initiatives in protocol, but it is also very important to realize them specific concrete projects.
Ghana, on her part, lauded Russia for her commitment and called for a legal framework to bind the two sides to the agreement.
We are tasked to ensure that agreements emanating from the Joint Commission sessions bear fruits to our peoples. It therefore behoves on all of us to encourage the private sector in our respected countries to foster stronger bonds among themselves as we put in place the enabling environment that would make private investments flourish with much ease.
Among the Russian delegation are some business magnates who are on exploratory mission for the first time in Africa. The highlight of the second Ghana-Russia Joint Permanent Commission will be the signing of a protocol of the second session.
Hello again, my name is Morris Ogbete. Got latest from the world of business. Now, Finance Minister Seth Terkper says Ghana's current debt now stands at $27.8 billion, contrary to $40 billion being speculated. Mr. Terkper disclosed this in an exclusive interview with GBC24.
The current debt stock, to be very precise, as at July 2016, is 27.8 billion US dollars. You can convert it into cedis and you get a cedi equivalent, which I don't have. Normally we measure in dollars because it involves borrowing. You borrow in euro, you borrow in cedis, you borrow in yen, in the dollar itself, and so the common denominator we use is the dollar. You denominate everything. So it's it's as I said, approximately $28 billion, US dollars.
So
that's our
current debt stock.
That's the debt stock. And we have the figure, we've truncated it from 2000, we can show every debt stock at the end of this. So it is not, and let me emphasize, it is not 39 billion, it is not 40 billion, no. It is our GDP, which has been between 37 billion and 40 billion. Right. And so if you divide simple arithmetic, when we are 70%, then 70% of 40 is approximately 28. Okay. So that establishes the debt stock. But the debt levels today, and it comes to we analyze these things. The debt stock as we speak today is at 65 percent. Based on, yes, it was 63 at the end of May. We did say that on account of disbursements, and that's where the adjustments come in. Okay. On account of disbursements, our end of year debt to GDP ratio is likely to be around 67-68%. It's not likely to be above the 70%, let alone the 90% or so.
Even with the borrowing that we did in August, and with the 750,
we have projected to the end of the year. We have 3 months to the end of the year.
Okay.
And so we have added all that, and we are saying that we are likely to be around 67-68. We do have models, for these things. And so I think to clarify, that is where we are, and this is the goal. Our goal is for the debt first we slow down, the rate at which we were borrowing annually. And then we are seeing the debt to GDP ratio itself go down. Okay. And what is our target? Ghana used to be a B+ rated country. If you look at countries, there are those who are on the markets. And for our debt to be sustainable in that sense, we must be between 55 to 60%. So that's our goal.
Still business live on GBC24. Deputy Minister for Power, Mr. John Jinapor, says the government has factored all concerns of ECG workers in the privatization process of the power distributor. At a forum with editors in Accra, Mr. Jinapor said there are key performance indicators in the contract that gives the government the power to terminate the contract if the concessionaire fails to meet them. He therefore assured Ghanaians that the government is seeking the best deal for the country.
The Ghana Power Compact entered into force on the 6th of September 2016, 2 years after the second compact was signed. This effectively means that the road is cleared to hand over the Electricity Corporation of Ghana to a private firm to manage for the next 25 years. Under the Power Compact, 6 projects will be implemented to has been met with stiff opposition from ECG workers.
We apologize for that technical challenge there. Let's go to the interbank market and get latest figures of how the local currency is performing. We also bring you latest prices of gold, cocoa and oil on the international commodities market. And that'll do for business. News hour continues. Welcome back to News Hour, and this is the health segment brought to you by FPAC Blows Your Pain Away. I'm Evans Champon. A 30-bed ward and a theatre facility have been opened for St. Andrew's Clinic to serve Kodiabe and adjoining communities. The facility, which is a project of the Christ the King Catholic Church, was inaugurated by the wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Emisa Arthur, and the parish priest, Reverend Father Andrew Campbell.
The St. Andrew's Clinic was established 13 years ago by the Catholic Church to provide quality health care to the people of Kodiabe and neighboring communities. As the years went by and the population increased, the Catholic Church realized the need to expand the facility to meet the growing demand. So, in March 2015, when the Christ the King Catholic Church celebrated its 65th anniversary, the parish priest, Reverend Father Andrews Campbell, inspired the church to put up a modern health facility to support the clinic. The facility consists of a 30-bed ward and a theater. Father Campbell was grateful to individuals and organizations who contributed in diverse ways to make the project a reality.
And Mother Teresa said, the ocean is better off because of that drop of water. You are a drop of water in Ghana. I am a drop of water. We're all a drop of water. If everybody put our drops of water together, work hard, be patriotic, be transparent, be honest, stand up for what is true and what is right, Ghana will change and it won't be a third world country anymore.
The wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Emisa Arthur, urged Ghanaians to be inspired by the life and contributions of Reverend Father Andrews Campbell to humanity.
No matter how daunting the task, no matter how challenging what he wants to do, he's persistent, he perseveres, and his faith goes in front of him, so that with faith, he's been able to achieve several things. Wherever you are, do your best. Bible says, everything you are doing, do it as unto the Lord. It is not only Father Campbell and Father sitting here, who because they are ordained, are in ministry. All of us are in ministry.
Mrs. Emisa Arthur later presented some medical items and equipment to the St. Andrew's Clinic. Dalex Finance also presented a check for 50,000 Ghana cedis to support the church. Some individuals and organizations also made donations to the clinic. Father Campbell and Mrs. Emisa Arthur appealed for more support for the St. Andrew's Clinic.
And a team of health experts from Ghana and Nigeria have ended a 5-year training program in research and cardiovascular diseases. The purpose of the training was to boost the capacity of participants who are the key agents in healthcare delivery in their respective countries. This is expected to reduce the burden of cardiovascular diseases in Africa.
Reports suggest that unhealthy lifestyle is a major cause of the recent increase in non-communicable diseases. Health experts, particularly those in Africa, are overwhelmed by the growing number of such patients, most of whom are unable to bear the cost of treatment. As the lead research center, the University of Ghana collaborated with other universities in Nigeria to establish the Cardiovascular Research Training Institute on the campus to build a formidable team of health experts on cardio-related diseases. The trainees are now in the position to pass on the skills to their colleagues. With funding from the United States, the trainees undertook research into breast cancer, child obesity, diabetes, oral health, sexual abuse, among others, using case studies from Ghana and Nigeria.
The idea is to create a new training program that will actually bring the faculty from the US, from Europe, from Canada, from the UK to Ghana to train junior people to do research in both health services and in clinical research as well.
With the success of the 5-year training, the organizers are hoping to extend the program to other African countries.
We're looking at building research capacity in Africa. So as we get more funding, we'll open this up to more countries. And that's one way in which University of Ghana can say that we've contributed to developing researchers for the whole continent.
A participant spoke about her experience.
They didn't just teach us these things. They then gave us a seed grant to conduct a study. And for many researchers, that is really important because you can get a lot of head knowledge and not have funds to do any work at all. And so I think that was really nice about CART. And maybe last but not the least is the fact that I was able to work with colleagues in Ghana. And so the research that we conducted was based both in Nigeria and in Ghana.
The training is the first of its kind to be held in Ghana.
In international news, a man who has been at the forefront of protests against Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe is in hospital after allegedly being beaten and tortured. Sylvanus Madzova, a member of the pressure group Dajamuka, said he had been abducted from his home in Harare on Tuesday night by unknown men. He told the media he had been blindfolded and tortured with sharp objects. Reports say he was also electrocuted on several parts of his body, including his genitals. The activist says his attackers had interrogated him, wanting to know who was funding his pressure group and why they were campaigning against President Mugabe's government. The spokesman for the group was also arrested but granted bail on Wednesday.
Hello, let's update ourselves from happenings in the world of sports. I'm Theophilus Sampa. The Kenyan national beach soccer team, the Harambee Sun Stars, have arrived in Accra. They will play the senior national beach soccer team, the Black Sharks, on Sunday. The rest, the final eliminator. These are the 19-man contingent from Kenya. They are made up of 12 players and 7 officials. The team will play Ghana's beach soccer team, the Black Sharks, on Sunday. The encounter is the return leg fixture of the ongoing CAF Beach Soccer Nations Cup qualifiers. Ghana a fortnight ago beat the Harambee Sun Stars by 10 goals to 3. The head coach of Harambee Sun Stars, Rajabu Babu, says they are going to reverse the scoreline.
Anything can happen in football. So if we get a surprise, I said even the first leg, no problem. You know, remember in Kenya, we were the first to score you. So anything can happen and we are ready for the game.
Captain of the side believes their early arrival will afford them the opportunity to acclimatize.
The last time we played Ghana at home, there was one guy as in the number 10, just number 10. It was very tricky, though the one who was just destroying the whole team. So we believe we came here, we are going to defend Ghana. We believe in ourselves.
Officials from the Ghana Beach Soccer Association were happy at their arrival.
I'm very happy the Kenyans are here. They look happy, they look optimistic and confident, which is good. They've not given up, so it means we're in for a good match.
Less than 12 hours before the arrival, they sent me an email that they've changed their hotel from Asa Hotel to Oshinik, which I even don't know where the Oshinik is, but I learned it's at Dansuma.
The winner on aggregate will qualify for the second edition of the Continental Showpiece to be staged in Nigeria in December this year. The winner of the December event will represent Africa at the 2017 FIFA Beach Soccer World Cup to be staged in Bahamas. The worry between Accra Hearts of Oak and Kumasi Asante Kotoko Knights of Ghana football battle for who is who in a peace tournament. The competition is being put together by the United Nations Association of Ghana.
On the 21st of September this year, the Accra Sports Stadium will come alive when Hearts plays Kotoko in a peace match. The game is part of activities to preach peace before, during and after the upcoming elections. The day will not only be about football, as some musicians will be present to spice up the competition with their melodious songs. Launching the event in Accra, the Vice President of the World Federation of the United Nations Association, Janet Edna Nyame, advised the youth to refrain from activities that promote violence.
Ghana, after almost 2 decades of constitutional democracy rule, is a relatively strong democracy with noteworthy accomplishments. In spite of this international recognition, as a relatively stable nation, Ghana has a myriad of perennial conflicts, which have at times erupted into violence, clashes, and if not addressed, has the potential of destabilizing the nation.
A peace ambassador for the match, Great Ampong, said the promotion of peace needs an all-hands-on-deck approach.
Don't do what I will not do. Don't go and take any ballot box.
don't go and do anything that will not make our peace to be established. Adofu yenyina yegana fo isaye yasunji Gana mambe yadiya yempentuko emoje yego.
So that's all for sports. More news comes up after this break.
When the Nigerian docudrama 93 Days chronicles the harrowing weeks in the summer of 2014 when a man who was suffering from the Ebola virus arrived in the city from Liberia. It is a story of how Nigerians came together to fight this dreadful disease. The movie was shot in the same neighborhood. Director Steve Gukas said they hope that the people who watch the movie understand how closely people in far-flung parts of the world are connected is key to his desire. The film will be premiered earlier this month at the Toronto International Film Festival and will be released in Nigeria theaters on Friday.
That's it in this package. Thanks for your company. Have a good night rest.